right, what's going on, everybody? Varric here. We have another build to show you. As you can see, it is another bear build. But what you will see in a moment is it is not a paladin bear. It is a sorceress bear. So I'm on kind of a bear kick right now. I don't know why, but it's fun. It's a zoomy build, and you do a ton of damage with your melee attacks. But that's kind of what I was thinking. Is like all you can do is melee attack. So which character, which class can actually maximize that ability using just very heavy melee attacks, buffed by some sort of ability. So the sorcerers can do that with their enchants. So you are an enchant sorceress who turns into a bear and attacks at 3 frames per attack. How do you do that? As you can see, very fast attack. And because you have a vigor mercenary, you are zooming around. Right? So how are we doing that? Let's go over the gear. So this is a Cliff Killer large siege bow with 6 sockets. As you can see here, it's at 195 attack speed. That's a high attack speed. This thing has base 80% attack speed. And yeah, with 5 shells and a 15 IS jewel, you can get it to 195. Now what you'll notice is when I pull up our fun little attack speed calculator, and I'll post this in the comments, when you go to Sorceress, when you go to Werebear, right, standard skill, you type in your weapon, Cliff Killer large siege bow, and then you scroll down, right? So you can see here, this is the off weapon increased attack speed, but this is the primary weapon increased attack speed. So as you scroll all the way down to 195, you see that's where it changes over. So here it hits 3 frames per attack. So this is how you use this sheet. Now sometimes with certain weapons, with certain classes, you will actually notice, all right, maybe here it says 4, but as you roll over the column or the row, you'll see that, okay, maybe here it says 3. It's like, okay, well, go up, okay, 60% off weapon increased attack speed to get to that 3 frames per attack. Obviously, it doesn't say that, but just saying. If it did say that, which sometimes it will with certain weapons, you can, maybe I can see, yeah, like here, right? So here is 6 frames per attack, 110. If I go over the row, here, boom. Now I can get to 5 frames per attack if I were to get 60% off weapon increased attack speed. So like gloves, belt, wherever. But primary weapon needs to be on the actual weapon itself. So that just tells you not all attack speed is built the same. So okay, going over the build. We talked about the Cliff Killer large siege bow. Now there's options, right? Basically, you have your frames per attack, period. You're done. How do you maximize damage, right? Now all it is a matter of getting the most damage and getting the defensives you want, if you want defensives, okay? So as you can see, I have a Crown of Ages, +1, 3 socketed, 15 PDR percent, and I have 3 cold facets, okay? So good mix of damage, good mix of defensives, really nice piece for this. Yes, you could use a Cuirass, that's another option, helps gives you CBF. Really good pierce, but again, not a whole lot of like defensiveness as far as going in, getting attacked by mobs, right? So the 15% here is really nice. Mara's +1, pretty standard, pretty obvious choice, good res, good plus skills. Random quiver, I just rolled with skulls. What are we getting here? We got the +1, we got the faster run walk, we got the all res, we got the life after kill. Really good options, right? Something like that will not cost you too much, I feel like, because it's a pretty niche quiver. Mermans with faster run walk. These are actually really nice boots because you are cold base damage, so you're adding cold damage to your attacks, right? So this is a really nice piece to add more cold damage. Additionally, you have a Raven Frost with life after each kill. Again, more cold damage. I like the life after each kill slams because yeah, you're killing things and you want sustain. So it's really hard to get sustain with this build. So you're going to want life after each kill. And you don't really do physical damage, so you're not life leeching. So yeah, life after each kill is going to be really important. Arcanes +1 with 2 facets in it. Just a nice piece because you can get the +3 all skills. Nice vitality, nice faster hit recovery. You'll notice I have really good faster hit recovery. I'm at 100, which is a really nice breakpoint, and you're doing that relatively easily because you have COA, you have Arcanes, and here you have Blood Fist. So I'll go over this in a second. Let me finish the build. So here, Snow Clash Battle Belt. Pretty obvious choice for a cold skill, for cold build, +2 skills. Yeah, physical damage taken, slam, a good one, good resist, good added cold damage. You could also use a Verdungos if you want more PDR percent. You could also use an Arachnid's Mesh if you want just +2 skills to give your fire a little bit more damage. But I think this is a nice piece and just kind of thematically fits with the cold build. BK Ring, again, it's just a nice +1, more damage, good life, and then life after each kill, obvious. You could use other options. You could use an SOJ. It doesn't really help you, though. I mean, as far as like mana, it's got like lightning damage. Like, that's not really helping you out. You could use a Wisp, which is going to give you a little more AR, which can help a little bit. So that's a nice piece you could do as well. And then, okay, so Bloodfist Gauntlet, Bloodfist Gloves. Why are these important and why do you need these? There's 3 options you can use when you're choosing gloves. You have Bloodfist Gloves. I'll show you the other 2 options. Bloodfist Gloves, you can use Hand of Brock, or you can use Steel Rends. Yeah, Steel Rend, right? Why are these the only 3 options? You see at the top of those abilities, they have melee attacks deal splash damage. That is not going to do well with this, right? Or not having that is not going to do well with this, right? Because you'll see, let me actually open up random cow map and show you the difference, right? So you'll see, let me, so let me show you the difference of what it looks like if I don't have melee attack deal splash damage, right? Like, what is happening? I'm barely doing damage and barely killing things. The reason is because I'm only killing things 1 at a time. If I do this, and now I'm splashing, right? So now I'm splashing my damage. So now I'm doing a lot more damage, hitting a lot more mobs, and they're dying a lot quicker, right? So here, this is how you just mow down mobs, okay? So I chose Blood Fist because it has FHR, it has good life, so really good defensives here. Whereas the other 2 just don't really give you much, right? I mean, Dual Leech is not helping you, ED is not helping you, defense mana, like, right? It doesn't really help you. Here, Steel Rend's like, cool, the strength could help you, but you're already dumping 185 strength, and that's going to be the highest strength requirement ability thing you use. So yeah, I think just looking at all 3 of them, this is just going to be the best piece, right? Because this also helps you get that 86% breakpoint, which is nice for FHR. So that's that. That's the discussion on gloves. On swap, you just have a lidless, right? CTA, Beast. Only slightly annoying thing about the build is you do have to switch back to Sorceress form to actually cast all your buffs, right? So it's not a big deal. I mean, you have 300 seconds for the map, so not a huge deal. Charms are just cold skillers with faster run walk. All these are just pluggy items. These are not necessary. You see how high my resistances are, right? So you can kind of put whatever you want there. I just do that as standard when I'm testing pluggy stuff. So yeah, not really necessary to have all these. You can put like MF or whatever you want. And Torch Annie. Mercenary. So Mercenary, how are we using the Mercenary? Basically just making her beefy, right? Chef stop, whatever, laying on hands. Your choices are very easy for this. You can kind of do whatever you want. And even in the bow, you can do whatever you want. I actually use, surprisingly, and I did the same thing on my Bear Paladin on live, is Purity. You don't really need a lot with this build. And funny thing is, when I'm, the obvious choice you would probably give her is like a Pus Spitter to do lower res. But here's the thing, you're already piercing 70% cold, right? You don't need low res, right? Unless you're breaking resist on a mob or like you're trying to do a cold res map, which, like, why would you do that? I don't think it's necessary. And just through practice, when I'm running around, she doesn't really hit it. I'm killing so fast that I don't really see low res getting cast on mobs. So it's really not necessary. And just for like what's actually going to benefit you, having prayer is really nice because you're getting life after each hit. So if you look up the actual prayer mechanic, it gives you replenish life, and it gives you life after each hit. So that's super nice when you're attacking at 3 frames per second. So your life after each hitting a lot. So it's actually really nice sustain having this on. And again, I do the same thing for my Bear Paladin on live. I think it's just a good option. I think it's a nice cheap option. It just tends to be the best option. I don't know why she's bugging out. Just relog. Okay, so that's her. I think I went over all that. She's an Act 1 Vigor Mercenary. Oh, here, I didn't go over. Flickering Flame, just a little more fire damage. It's probably not necessary because you're not a fire-based build. But you still have fire, right? So you still have Enchant Fire. Your fire damage is not like the greatest, but why not add a little bit more with an easy free slot? So that's kind of nice. Let's see what's your actual fire damage is, right? So it's only 4.5k max, but hey, it's a little more fire damage. So okay, that's her, that's you. Let's go over stats and skills. Stats, just enough to wear your gear. Ends up being, yeah, basically this. You need 174 to hit the Crown of Ages. Again, you could use Akira's, which makes it less strength requirement, but you're not doing too much more because you're using 165 here. The nice thing about Cliff Killer is it's not a max upgraded bow, so you don't need to upgrade it. Really, there's no point. You don't need additional melee damage. So I'd keep this where it is. You're just going to increase the requirements of it. So yeah, basically just enough strength and dex to wear your gear, and then just dumping into vitality. I don't know why my dex is so high. Oh, you know what? Because I am now wearing a Raven Frost. I was not initially. I was doing the Kira's, so here you can do a little bit more HP, right? So now you're at 2078, and that's with like not using life skillers, which is nice. So yeah, you can get your life pretty high. That was stats. You can see my resistances are really nice. My AR is actually pretty decent. When you're out of town, I think it's a little bit higher. Let me see. No, no, it stays there. So you could certainly drop a little bit more into dex. I think that's pretty decent AR. And you have scout. Hey, sorry, my dog is squeaking. Sorry. You have minus target defense here, which is a nice slam. So you could probably get that for pretty cheap if people are actually selling it. But hopefully they are, which will help just hit mobs a little bit better. All right, skills, the last but not least. So going over skills, basically you're just an enchant source, right? So you're doing your cold enchant, you're doing your fire enchant, and just maximizing the synergies, right? So here, cold enchant, you see chilling armor is another synergy, is a synergy, so you're maxing that. Obviously, that gives you the ability to cast chilling armor, so a lot, very good defensiveness, and additional cold damage, as you can see. Well, retaliated. And then you're maxing cold mastery, and then you're going to fire, you're maxing warmth, you're maxing enchant fire, again, which is the synergy, right? Warmth is, which is also nice because that gives you more attack rating. So that's good. And then just dumping into fire mastery. Obvious question you might ask is, well, can you lean more heavily into fire instead of cold? Yes, you can. It actually nets you a little bit more fire damage, but I think, in my opinion, cold just tends to be more pound for pound better damage. Just like for what, I don't think it's a 1-to-1 ratio. I think cold actually is a little bit better. I don't have any evidence to back that up. It's just what it feels like. So yes, you could go into fire if you want to do fire. Feel free, but I like the cold build. So that is skills, nothing into lightning, and remember, you're just melee attacking. How are you turning into a bear? Because I've gotten this question before. You're using Beast, right? Beast rune word has +3 werebear, so you're turning into a bear using that, and then you're just CTAing for your buffs, and then back into a bear. You're ready to go, which I will show you. So I already showed you some cows, but I will show you what a Pandemonium map looks like, right? Because, right, you're always going to ask, like, okay, cows are easy to die. What does it look like in an actual tier 3 map? So I can show you. Very similar to how my Paladin plays. You're just one-shotting, right? You're one-tapping everything. You're attacking super fast. You got pretty decent sustain with your life after kill, with your prayer, getting life after each hit. So, yeah, it does really well. And I'll just kind of walk you through this. You do pretty good damage to bosses too, which is really nice. Let me see if I can kind of zoom to the boss room real quick. I think we're going to go the right direction. And you can just see me kind of walk through stuff. I'm not going to kill everything, but we're going to try to zoom to the boss room. I don't think it's up to the top right. Sometimes it is in the top right, but I think this one is over here. I'm also doing this to sort of show what the sustain looks like. So yeah, you see me drop down once or twice. Actually, let's see if we can get like a boss coming out of here. Just cease. We just one tap them all. Oh yeah, deceased is cold immune, so let's see what he. So you're just kind of chunking him with fire damage. I don't want to get hit by all those. Blaze almost died. That's fine. I'm not gonna. But you can kill cold immune mobs, which is fine. The only thing that's gonna hold you up is when they're cold and fire immune at the same time, and that's you're just not worth killing. Here's Alma. So we do pretty good here. I probably could have cleared everything else out, but I just wanted to show you she's dead. It's a really nice boss damage. My Merc died. I did that sloppy, but just wanted to show you the boss damage. I think it's super nice because obviously you have your 16 to 18k sheet damage, which is super sweet. 12k max cold, and you're piercing, right, 70%. So I'll take a second and just show you what this looks like. So really nice, good resistances, good mastery, good pierce. Even your fire is doing really well. Just not super high numbers here. Good life after kill. So really good all around. So I really like this build. I think it's super fun. Very similar to the bear build, the bear paladin build I've been doing. And surprisingly easy to hit that 6 frames. I mean, all you need is a 6 socket cliff killer. Whereas Paladin, you needed like a particular slam with the Flame Bellow. So I think that's really nice. And once you get that, again, it's just working in the rest of the build, however you want to build it, whether you want to maximize more damage or defensiveness, and you can have both. Obviously, certain of these roles are going to be really expensive, but they're not super necessary. It's just a way to get one more skill out of it. But yeah, that is it. So that's the build, guys. Any questions, feel free to ask. If you like it, let me know. If you don't like it, let me know. But yeah, any comments, please post in the comments. Happy to answer. As always, if you like my videos, please please subscribe. I always appreciate the support, and I love doing more of these. So if you have anything you want to see, let me know. So that's it. Have a good day. See ya.